seconds left. Lakers still have a foul to give. Parsons for three. It's good! And we're going to overtime!
With Brendan Cahill on Phoenix Radio Online.
Good afternoon, Springfield. My name is Brendan. You are listening to Overtime on Phoenix Radio Online, the voice of Brisbane, Springfield, and Ipswich. And look, we've got a great show coming up today. I'm really excited at what we've got coming up. We're going to breeze through a massive weekend in sport before we talk more about a couple of the upsets in the AFL and NRL, and then have a look at some future rounds and matchups which could stir the pot a little. We take a look at an incident which occurred in the 1994 Caribbean Cup match between Barbados and Grenada that will have you in stitches. Also, some baseball stats that have gone way too far. And to round out the show, speed grave digging. Apparently it's a thing. We'll take a look at Siberia's superior shovel-wielding competition. All this coming up on the program. Be sure to stick around to hear all about it. But first to the main headlines from today and around the region. Multiple workers caught up in a workplace fire. 2 people have been taken into hospital in Brisbane following a workplace fire at Cahill. Multiple crews were called to the business at Industrial Ave and Production Street just after 10:30am on Tuesday in response to a large fire. A Queensland and Emergency Service spokesman said it appeared the blaze first ignited inside a workshop. It is understood workers reportedly managed to extinguish the blaze prior to the arrival of fire crews. Police and paramedics are also on the scene. A Queensland ambulance spokeswoman said 6 people had been assessed by paramedics, though there are no reports of burns. Baby teenage girl hospitalised in a 2-vehicle crash. Paramedics were kept busy on Ipswich roads overnight with 4 people, including a baby girl, taken to hospital after crashes in the city's eastern suburbs. 2 men in their 20s were taken to Ipswich Hospital in stable conditions after a 2-vehicle crash in Springfield at around 6:30pm on Monday. Both suffered minor injuries after the 2 cars collided on Main Street and Southern Cross Crescent. About 15 minutes earlier, paramedics assessed 3 patients at the scene of a 2-vehicle crash in Redbank Plains. The crash occurred on Redbank Plains Road and Greenwood Village Road. A teenage girl was taken to the Mater Hospital in a stable condition with neck pain, and a baby girl was taken to Ipswich Hospital for observation. A woman was hurt in a multi-vehicle crash near the RAAF base. A female has been hospitalised after suffering minor injuries in a 2-vehicle collision near the RAAF base at Amberley. The incident occurred on Ipswich Rosewood Road, close to the Cunningham Highway, at about 8:40am on Tuesday morning. Police and paramedics both attended the scene. A Queensland ambulance spokesman confirmed that 2 females were assessed by paramedics. 1 patient was taken to Ipswich Hospital by private transport in a stable condition, and another declined any further medical treatment. And in local sport, Ipswich girls battle hard chasing final spots. They've toiled hard in recent weeks, displaying plenty of promise in this year's Titans Cup Rugby League competition, and now Ipswich State High Division 1 Titans Cup girls side needs to lift again in Wednesday night's matches that are being live streamed on the QT website. The talented girls are chasing wins to consolidate their semi-final spots. Ipswich State High's Year 11-12, 9-10 and 7-8 sides tackle Marsden away from home, eager to build on their steady progress. The school's Year 11-12 side are currently in second spot on 4 points, just behind Wednesday's opponents. Victory over Marsden this Wednesday will keep the older aged girls well placed for a finals charge. And to the weather today, well, wasn't it just stellar at Springfield? 22 currently with a very small breeze and clear skies outside. A little warmer down at Ipswich, 24 and 19 up the range at Toowoomba. No rain ahead of us for the rest of the week and moderate days ahead. Winter, although is most definitely upon us. You'll be feeling those morning temperatures well down into the single figures. Alrighty, it is 10 minutes past 3 o'clock. Look, we're just going to jump into some music. We've got Guy Sebastian coming up with Choir, and then we'll be jumping into a massive weekend of sport. You're listening to Overtime with Brendan Cahill on Phoenix Radio Online. Jason Derulo, Take You Dancing. It is 19 minutes past 3 here at Phoenix Radio Online. You're listening to Brendan Cahill with Overtime. Alrighty, had a packed weekend of sports, so I'm just going to fly through it because we do have some stuff to get talking to. We're going to start with the golf. Phil Mickelson became the oldest winner of a major ever. Oldest man at 50 years old to win a major. It was also his first since 2013. We had the F1 Monaco Grand Prix on the weekend. Aussie Daniel Ricciardo did not have a great weekend, qualifying and finishing in P12, and he got lapped by his teammate Lando Norris as well. Max Verstappen won the race, and a poor race from reigning champion Lewis Hamilton means that Verstappen now takes the championship lead, 105 points to 101. And in the NBA, I saw a stat from the first playoff game between the Nets and the Celtics, where the Nets' big three, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant, combined for 82 points on their own out of the 104 total scored by the team. And the playoffs of that NBA have started just over the weekend. The Bucks crushed the Heat earlier today to 132-98 to take a 2-0 series lead. And in other games, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Brooklyn, Memphis, Dallas, Portland, and Phoenix all took Game 1 leads over their opponents. Rightio, taking a trip back home now, we have to talk about the Brisbane Broncos. They absolutely crushed the Roosters on Friday night, I want to say, or Saturday night. And yeah, it was a game to forget for the Roosters, especially for their lock, Victor Radley. Put on report 4 times and sin bin twice while the Roosters racked up 10 penalties to the Broncos 5. So, upset by the Bronx there. Literally no one would have saw that coming. I don't even think any Bronx diehard fans, I don't know if they would have tipped their team to win that one. Switching codes, but a similar deal in the AFL. The Adelaide Crows upset the Melbourne Demons, ending their undefeated run in 2021 by a single point, 96-95. Some questionable umpires' decisions, apparently. I didn't see the game. I was at work. But it's in print now, so Adelaide have trumped the Ds. And fun stat to come out of that one is that the circle of parity is now complete. What is the circle of parity, I hear you ask? Well, the Facebook page, Triple Wafer, posted a picture showing the so-called circle of parity, which means that every team has now beaten at least one team, and then that team has beaten another team, etc., etc. Bit hard to explain, but I'll give you a quick example real quick. So, North Melbourne defeated Hawthorn in round 9. Hawthorn have defeated Adelaide. Adelaide have defeated Melbourne, who have beat GWS, etc., etc. So every team has gotten a win against a unique opponent is probably the best way I can put it. And it's just, if you see the post on Facebook, it is aesthetically pleasing to look at. Right, back to the point though. These upsets last week have to beg the question, what other upsets could we see in the coming weeks? Well, I've gone ahead and taken a look at the next couple of rounds in the AFL and the NRL and come up with a short list. Short because we are heading into the bye rounds, middle of the season, starts to peter out a bit. Teams are starting to have byes, and of course we've got Origin coming up in the NRL. But anyway, in the AFL, North to upset Saints this week. Big call, but look, the Saints copped an absolute walloping from the Doggies last week. Their tails are between their legs, so if North can get the step up early, who knows what we could see out of that. And then after that, there's no real other upsets that I could see happening. I mean, Carlton and Sydney, but Carlton have got a lot of injuries, so we should see Sydney start to walk out of that one. But they did have a tough game against Freo on the weekend. But in the NRL as well, this week coming up, West Tigers against the Dragons. Serious chance. The Tigers played great footy last week against the Warriors. Unlucky to come up with a win, I thought. And look, the Dragons lost by a point to the Sharks, and it was another disappointing game from them. They've had a couple disappointing ones in quite recently with the Bulldogs as well, when they only scored 6 points 1/2 against them. But seriously, Tigers' hot chance to beat the Dragons, I would reckon. But also Raiders to upset the Roosters. Coming off that massive loss to the Bronx last week, they're also missing key forward Victor Radley, as I said, with suspension, and they'll have surely a couple guys either resting or sitting out for Origin. Think Tedesco. But yeah, look, I think if the Raiders can fix their second half troubles, where they sort of get bogged down after half time, look, they can give the Tricolours a run for their money. And just like the AFL, run into bye rounds and the State of Origin coming up on June 9th, I want to say. But yeah, only 4 fixture matches taking place in round 13. So interesting times ahead in the footy. Be sure to let me know on the socials if you have any tips which might upset a hot favourite. I'd love to hear your opinion. OT with BC on Twitter and Instagram. Overtime with Brendan Cahill on Facebook if you'd like to get in touch. Rightio, 30 minutes past 3 o'clock. Look, coming up, we've still got the stitch up from the Caribbean Cup many, many years ago, qualifying round between Barbados and Grenada. And after that, baseball stats that exist but do not matter. How ridiculous is stat tracking got recent years? All this coming up later. Coming up, though, we've got Amy Shark and Keith Urban, Love Songs Ain't For Us, 3:24. You're listening to Brendan Cahill on Overtime. 3:32 on Phoenix Radio Online. Welcome back. You're listening to Overtime with Brendan Cahill. Look, we're going to get into a little bit of a recap of the news. There is still that power outage across the state, 375,000 houses apparently. Hundreds of thousands of southeast Queensland homes and businesses are without power this afternoon, with Energex furiously working to identify the fault. spokesperson confirmed about 375,000 South East Queensland homes and businesses were without power after multiple explosions at Cahill Power Station. Power is reportedly out to most of the Gold Coast, Logan, large parts of Brisbane, including Graceville, Salisbury, Coorparoo, Beenleigh, Fig Tree Pocket, Boondall, Nunda, Northgate, Ascot and Hendra. And in local news, multiple workers were caught up in a workplace fire. 2 people have been taken to hospital in Brisbane following a workplace fire at Wacol. Multiple crews were called to the business at Industrial Ave and Production Street just after 10:30 on Tuesday in response to a large fire. A Queensland Fire and Emergency Service spokesperson said it appeared that the blaze ignited inside a workshop. It is understood workers were reportedly managed to extinguish the blaze prior to the arrival of fire crews. Police and paramedics were also on the scene. A Queensland ambulance spokesperson said 6 people had been assessed by paramedics, though there are no reports of burns. A woman hurt in a multi-vehicle crash near the RAAF base. A female has been hospitalised after suffering minor injuries in a 2-vehicle collision near the RAAF base at Amberley. The incident occurred on Ipswich-Rosewood Road, close to the Cunningham Highway, at about 8:40 a.m. this morning. Police and paramedics both attended the scene. A Queensland ambulance spokesperson confirmed that 2 females were assessed by paramedics. 1 patient was taken to Ipswich Hospital by private transport, and another declined any further medical treatment. And local sport, the Ipswich girls battle hard, chasing final spots. The Ipswich State High Division 1 Girls Titans Cup side need to lift on Wednesday's match that is being live-streamed on the QT website. The talented girls are chasing wins to consolidate their semi-final spots. Ipswich State High's 11-12, 9-10 and 7-8 sides tackle Marsden away from home, eager to build on their steady progress. The school's Year 11-12 side are currently in the 2nd spot on 4 points, just behind Wednesday's opponents. Victory over Marsden this Wednesday will keep the older age girls well placed for a finals charge. Rightio, so that's it for the news. Look, I teased a bit earlier, soccer match between Barbados and Grenada in 1994, the Caribbean Cup. I don't even know where to begin, really. I'm just going to read it as I see it here. I'm going to paint the scene for you. 1994, you're spectating a match between Barbados and Grenada in a qualification match in the Caribbean Cup. Jumping into a rule which you probably know real quick here. If the match is tied in a cup match, sometimes the game might go into extra time with golden goal. First team to kick a goal in extra time wins the match. Now, traditionally, the goal is worth 1 goal, 1 point. But for some reason in this tournament, the golden goal was worth 2 goals, 2 points. I swear this is important, so just keep it in mind. Now, normally this wouldn't be an issue, but in soccer, it's not just a win, loss, game's over, move on. You're also dealing with a table, a points table, and tables have goal differential. You're starting to see the connection now. Grenada sits at the top of the table, tied with Puerto Rico, and have a 3-goal differential lead over Barbados, meaning Barbados need to win by 2 goals to advance to the finals. All right, now, 83rd minute, 7 minutes left. Barbados are up 2-1, but it's not enough to get them into the finals. Now remember, golden goal is worth 2. So Barbados, the geniuses that they are, devise a plan that they could try to score another goal in regulation, but with 7 minutes left, it's not exactly likely. So their plan is to play for the draw, to take it to extra time to have a shot at getting a 2-point goal. So they dribble out the ball a few times, and there's some great footage of this online. You can look it up, where the goalie and a defender are just sort of dribbling the ball back and forward to each other, and then the defender just stops dead in his tracks, boots it into his own goal. So, game is tied now. Sounds unbelievable, but it's definitely happening. But 3 minutes left, and Grenada are starting to catch on. They realise that they can either try and score a goal to win by 1 point, but they can also lose by a goal and still advance. So Grenada can score in either of the nets, really. So you literally have one team trying to score in either net, and the other team is trying to defend both nets, not wanting to score. Anyway, Barbados hold off for the 3 minutes. Game goes into extra time, and they kick the golden goal and win by 2, knocking out Grenada and moving on to the finals. How mad is that? Pretty funny, actually, that the Grenadian team couldn't score in either net. Because if you think about it, you got 5 Barbados blokes standing around both nets and not wanting them to score. Grenada could have sent all 10 of their men at the one net and been playing 10 on 5, and they still couldn't manage to score. But just Big brain 200 IQ play from Barbados there. The rule ended up getting changed back. I mean, who knows why it was changed in the first place, but yeah. Soccer, eh? It's a funny game back in the day. I just want to say, I originally saw this on SB Nation while browsing the internet and just had to bring it to the show. So credit to them for enlightening me on this terrific situation. But look, still to come, baseball stats that exist but do not matter. Yeah, why? And a local contest in Siberia that you wouldn't think to exist, but look, it does. 37 minutes past 3 o'clock. Listening to Overtime with Brendan Cahill on Phoenix Radio Online. Coming up, we've got Justin Bieber with Hold On, Peking Duck with Fire. 3:44 p.m. Welcome back to Overtime with Brendan Cahill. Look, talking baseball, right now we're going to be talking about something that's gotten way out of hand over the years, and especially in the time of fast computers and dedicated team statisticians. This is Stats That Exist But Do Not Matter, inspired by a series on YouTube by John Boy Media. Now, what do I mean by stats that exist but do not matter? Surely all stats matter one way or another? Not quite. They don't, frankly. These absolutely ridiculous scenarios are recorded but hold no relevance to any game. And I've got one for you here today. Sandy Alcantara is a pitcher for the Miami Marlins. Now, Sandy, when he's pitching in the second innings of the game, there's a right-hand batter in the box, and there's one out in the inning. You see how ridiculously specific we're getting? All right, second innings, righty in the box, one out, 2 strikes for the batter. Sandy has never had a strike called. Never had a strike called for him. Sometimes they might be swinging, or the ball could be outside the zone. But look, in his career, he's thrown 28 pitches in this specific scenario, and 0 called strikes. Also, though, 0 hits. Very nice, Sandy. 28 pitches, 8 balls, 7 foul tips, 7 whiffs, that's a swing and miss strike, 6 balls in play, 0 called strikes. So this is a stat that has been recorded, and for what reason? No reason. They don't matter. We don't need to know this, but it's a thing. So, yeah, that's stats that exist but do not matter. I mean, I love them. Because, I mean, they're so ridiculous and specific that they're actually funny. I'll try to make this a regular segment, and I'll be on the lookout myself. That was one that was saw from John Boy Media Baseball, some more inspiration for the show. Alrighty, it is 3:46 right now. Coming up, we have got Dean Lewis and Paramore. You are listening to Overtime with Brendan Cahill. 3:55 p.m, that was Medusa with Paradise. Look, almost going to be jumping out of here, but before we jump out, I have to talk to you about Siberian grave digging. Yes, you heard me right, and for once, this isn't out of America, actually, but obviously Siberia in Russia. So yeah, something weird for you. Now look, in Australia, we have competitions like wood chopping and block splitting, all quintessentially Australian things. Well, in Siberia in Russia, they have their own local competition, the annual Speed Grave Digging Contest. Grave digging with haste, if you will. The competition, held every year in Russian city of Novosibirsk, tracks the region's hardest diggers to the crematorium to see who is the best grave digger in town. Apparently, the competition is held to raise the prestige of the profession, improve gravediggers' work performance, and attract younger generations to careers in the funeral industry. Each 2-man team is marked on a few criteria: the time they complete the grave in, its size, the digger's technique, and the accuracy of the hole. So I guess that means how tight the edges are and stuff. I can't say with 100% certainty. Anyway, the event that's just gone last week, a team from Omsk won the event with a time of 38 minutes to dig a grave. That's, I think from memory, it was like 160 centimeters deep, 200 centimeters long, and about 80 centimeters wide. That's a sizable hole. They've dug it in 30 minutes there. Anyway, they won a little over 500 Aussie dollars once converted over, and obviously the prestige of being the fastest grave diggers in Siberia. But look, anyway, that is going to do me for the day. No Ben coming up. He's been stuck after the traffic light outages. So make sure you're staying safe with those ones. If you can avoid it, maybe don't be driving around. But look, yeah, you'll still have Gabby and Byron and Zane at 5 o'clock and Kyle shortly after that. This has been me. You've been listening to Brendan, Overtime with Brendan Cahill on Phoenix Radio Online. Have a lovely, lovely afternoon.